So I just got back from picking up a really good Facebook Marketplace find, at least in my opinion. Let me get these out and show you what I've got. This particular nuts and bolts bin, this is a 40 bin bolt bin, and it's from Fastenal Company. These other two, let me get this out. Oh, and one other thing, these things are brand new. They've never been used before. They were sitting in the garage there, and I've been wanting to find a set of hardware bins like these for the longest time. The next two, these are the 72 bin storage. They're dirty, need to clean them up. I'm gonna hose them down, all that. But they've never had nuts and bolts inside of them. But that's not the best part of this whole entire deal. I got these three storage bins, and I checked on the Fastenal website, and for these three it comes up to about almost $1,100, almost $1,100, closer to $1,200 for these three specific bins alone. Here's the awesome part. I got 5 boxes of hardware in the back of the truck that are for every one of these slots. Let me go ahead and take you inside and show you what they look like in the car here real quick. So, I got, like I said, 5 of these boxes, and every box is completely full of the hardware in the bag with the numbers on them and all that. You can see there's been years of dust collection in these things. Never had any bolts in them. The nuts and bolts that came with it were never put in it. So that was an awesome find. The guy originally had it set for $3,000 on Marketplace. Just when I got on there the day after I had messaged him, it went down to $2,800. Well, one thing led to another, back and forth, negotiating, wheeling and dealing, and guys, always wheel and deal on Marketplace finds. Always offer low and see what you can get for. I picked up all of this stuff for $1,300. There's about $2,000 right there just in nuts and bolts hardware. There's grade 5, there's grade 8, there's metric, there's standard, there's everything, washers. But I think in a later video, we'll probably talk about this and go through what all I got and kind of see how the setup ends up being. But like I said, I have no idea where I'm going to put this. Not a clue, because it won't fit anywhere on any of the benches except for maybe that back wall, but it would put it so high up on that back wall that it would almost make it inconvenient to try to get bolts out of the top bin. I don't have any room over here, so my only option would be is to find a place over on this side for it, which makes it a slight bit inconvenient because you're going into a whole different room to get them. It's only 10 steps away, not a big deal. And maybe I could even put them over here on this wall, but then that doesn't leave much room to get your butt in between the car and the bolt bin container. So we'll figure this out. I've got to come up with an idea to do this, to make it so it's organized and not junky looking. So here's all 5 bags. They've probably been relocated, and let's see, this big bag of 3/4 10 4-inch yellow zinc finish SAE grade 8 hex cap screw. Heavy duty stuff. This looks like it's all kinds, and these are a lock nut, top lock nut. And let's see what that says on there real quick. 5/8 11 zinc finish grade C top lock nut. So there's some expensive hardware in all these boxes. Washers, I think it's a full kit, full bit of everything. Like I said, I've been looking for years for well, at least those, the storage compartments, the storage containers. Didn't care whether they had nuts and bolts come with them. I've looked at them at different auctions and missed out on them. Walked away from ones that were full for $500 to $800 for one compartment. And I got all 3 of these compartments. Like I said, those are grade 8, grade 5 hardware, and 5. And after picking these things up from the back of the car here, I'm going to guess that these are more like 60 to 75 pounds each box. They're heavy. Let's go ahead and get these out and over on the workbench. I'll bet that these boxes are close to 80 pounds. I know I keep throwing numbers up, but each one I carry, it gets heavier and heavier. Now this one's a little bit lighter, so it's not 80, it might be 60. I can't wait to pull all those bags out, set them on the bench, organize them, and see what I really got for this deal. Like I said, I'll bet there's $2,000 worth of nuts and bolts and washers and hardware and grade 8. And this is all good stuff too. This is from a reputable company, Fastenal. And we have a local Fastenal around here. Used to have one in town, but there's another one. They went out of business, but the other Fastenal is probably 30 miles down the road from us. And gosh, I'm out of breath from carrying these things. They're that heavy. Anyhow, they've got numbers, and they actually drive by the house here. And I do believe I can get set up on a restocking program. But man, I don't know if I'll ever be able to use this many nuts and bolts. So again, this goes towards my two sons' future in lawnmower repairs, if that's what they end up doing. I sure hope not, but everybody's got a lawnmower that's going to need fixed someday too. So, as long as they work hard. This one here is probably one of the heaviest ones. Now, it's about as heavy as the first one. I'll bet 80 pounds. Wish I had a scale here I could weigh these. So, all right. Now the fun part. Going through here, pulling all these out, and seeing what I actually got in there. Well, guys, I think I was wrong. I think there is a lot more than a couple $1,000s worth of hardware here. Everything up there is all the grade 8 stuff. Like I said, this is all grade 5. And it just goes on and on and on. A lot of the metrics in here, metric stuff. The smallest I saw was down to M4. It's all here. Grade 8. I mean, look at this. Just bag after bag after bag of nut, bolt, washer, lock nut, hardware. Man, I think I hit the hardware jackpot. But I get a kick out of, sometimes I'll get comments about the garage here and if I ever use it, because it's too clean to actually do work in. And there's a huge misconception. By having a organized garage is what helps you keep it clean. I pick up my tools every time I do a project out here. Every time I finish a project, I pick up my tools, I put them away. It looks clean because it is clean and because I took the time to organize things. I took the time to label it, have places for it, and then I know that when I'm done using it, it's easy to put back. Like if I come over here and grab a clamp and I do something, I'm working on a project, when I'm done using that clamp right then and there, I come here and I hang it back up there and put it back. I don't leave it lay here. I don't leave it set over there, anything like that. That's what makes cleanup so much easier. That's what makes keeping your shop organized easier. And that's what makes it look like I don't do anything out here. Now I need to go and get these bins cleaned out. I started washing them and I'm letting them soak for a little bit. You know how dust sits for years on something? Well, just rinsing them off. Gonna put some cleaner in there and get them all cleaned up and get those things ready. But there's gonna be a lot of work in getting these things all in and organized the way they should be. And the worst part's gonna be finding a spot for it. But for the money I spent, like I said, I spent $1,300 for those 3 organization boxes, the storage bins, and what I'm guessing to be over $2,000 worth of hardware here. $1,300 for everything. So, and I'm figuring it's probably about $3,200 to $3,500 worth of stuff that I got today. So, man, what a great score. What a great opportunity to organize this. And now I can finally do away with my rinky-dink little plastic ones that I've had for years. And I'll try and get these organized into the right spots for those. And I can do away with these ugly looking little plastic bins here. So I guess that's it for the marketplace find of the day or the week or the year for me. Go ahead and get these done. But I do want to get on to showing you about organizing a drawer and what I look at, how I go through the mind process or the thought process of where something goes in a drawer, then how do I organize it? Let's just pick a couple of drawers. A couple things I wanted to show you and explain about this. And I know some of you have seen my videos in the past of how I have things in the toolbox here, how they're organized, all that. But let's just look at my measurement drawer. So I label it as measurement and tape measure. That pretty much covers everything that's in here and or anything that I would have to measure. Now, I just redid this drawer 2 weeks ago. All of my tape measures were along here on the back side. All of these rulers and yardstick stuff and things like that, they were all right up here. My calipers, they were back in this corner. And some of this other stuff, my laser level, my angle finder, they were all tucked in up under here. And when I looked at this drawer, I originally organized it, and it worked out very well. Like I said, all the tape measures were back there. Everything was basically flopped on this. Well, when I come to this drawer, what the number one thing is that I get out of that is usually a tape measure or a set of calipers. So every time I come and open the drawer, I had to open it all the way up, which you can see is 2 feet. So I had to open it all the way up to be able to reach into the back to get a tape measure out of there, which was sitting back there. You might look at that and think, well, so it's only 2 foot. But I look at it as, you know, why in the world do I need to open this drawer up 2 foot every time when all I'm ever after is either a tape measure or a set of calipers? I only need to open that drawer up 10 inches. And when you're in a shop with a table here, project on it, you're working on something, it just seems like, you know, this stuff starts to get in the way, and every time you have to walk over here and pull a drawer open, now you're running into stuff. And this is about 12 foot by maybe 10 foot area that I have to work on. So if I have a tractor in here or whatever, it's too small for a vehicle, but I might be welding something, might have a project, might have something in woodworking. But so it did make a difference in how far I was pulling that drawer open for a tape measure. So what I did was basically just flopped everything. And the concept of why open a drawer all the way when 90% of the time that I'm getting something out of here, it's for a tape measure. And you'll also see that on my tape measures that they've got the how many feet it is. They come from the factory with the label on the side. I just wrote it with a paint pen. Now I just take a quick look and I know which one I want. So if I'm just doing a quick measurement out in the garage, 16 foot. If I'm going outside, I know that I need the 30 foot or the 25 or whatever. And some of them are different. Some of them have the magnets on the end for like if you're doing metal studs or metal work or anything like that. There's the concept of that drawer. A ratchet drawer, and all of those are in foam. And I've explained in other videos why I do that, but when you remove one, you know it's missing. You know at the end of the day when you go to look around for your stuff, if that's missing, you go back to where you were using it, find it, put it away. But that's the ratchet drawer. All of these are cut out in the foam, and I can show you or explain to you that in a minute. I've got a piece here because I do have something that I need to change around. This is a piece of 1/2-inch foam, and got this from a place called the foamfactory.com on the internet. It was the cheapest place. I found it about 5 years ago. Now, screwdriver drawer. I wanted to talk to you guys about this one, and I will explain. And it's similar to my ratchet drawer up there, but all these screwdrivers are cut out in foam. This is not that expensive stuff. This isn't the multicolor. In other videos, I've had people just say, oh man, if you'd have just put a different color down at the bottom and on top, if you go and price that stuff out, it is ridiculously expensive. It wasn't that important to me to have this be a different color than this. If you look at that, it sure as well tells you that's missing. And you can tell that that's the one that goes back in there. Fits them perfectly, just like everything that's in here. Would it look pretty if it had a different color foam in it? Maybe, but personally, I think it looks prettier when the tool's in there. That is just to tell you that it's missing and hasn't been put back yet. So with that in mind, go through here. All this is in the foam. It's all cut out. It's very easy to do. Some people think, man, I don't know how you would do that, but it's pretty easy. And I'll show you the tools. Just a box cutter razor knife that I use, and I've ground down that to make that sharper, so when I go around a turn, makes it easier. And I also made another one out of another box cutter blade. This is one of those wide blades, and I ground it way down. Just wrapped it with some hockey tape. And I use those two for cutting the foam out for the tools. But here's the scenario that I wanted to show you in this situation. And I guess first I want to preface this by saying I don't lose tools. I've had these tools for, gosh, forever. For any of you guys that are Snap-on people, you know that that's one of the old handles. They don't even make that anymore. I believe they've gone to this style. I'm not a big fan of these. I just don't like the way they feel in my hand as much as I like the old style. But back to what I was getting at is I don't lose tools. I don't forget them. I don't misplace them, because when one is not in its spot, I know it's missing and I know to go look for it. But here's a scenario that I want to show you guys. I picked up this 27-in-1 Milwaukee screwdriver, and it's got a bunch of the bits inside of the head here. These are all little tiny Phillips head, Torx, square drive, flat blade. They're just everything that you could want. It is a fabulous little micro screwdriver for whether it be eyeglasses or whatever. But here's the thing, is this set of screwdrivers here is what I originally had. And then I got this, and it's actually going to replace those. I've got my cutout here that was for all of these. I've got that cutout and it looks goofy. So what I want to do today is show you how you add something like this to a spot that's already there. And that's why I have this spare or extra piece of foam. So when I bought this stuff, I had extra, and I keep extra just for the case if I need to change or fix something in this toolbox. And I'll show you what I do, or how I add this to my toolbox drawer. And how I do these is I put a 1/2-inch layer on top, and then I get another piece that I don't cut through that's, I want to say it's about 1/8 of an inch thick on the bottom. And what that does is so when I cut my tool out, I still have foam protecting the tool on the bottom, and then the 1/2 inch at the top is what holds the tool in. One thing that I didn't say is when you slam this drawer and pull it back open, nothing is rolled around, nothing is moved around. It's all organized and stays where it's supposed to. But now I've got to take and I've got to cut this particular section out of here and insert a brand new section, and then recut out around that new screwdriver that I've got over there. So let me go ahead and get this cut out of here. And I need it to match exactly, so when I pull this out and put the new piece in, it's an exact inlay of that. And I don't want it to flop around. Now, something else that I do is when I cut this foam to put the tool in there, sometimes I'll take And if you see what I'm doing here, is that was the top layer of that bits, the screwdrivers that were in there. I took it out and then I cut that top layer in half because those screwdrivers are shorter than that 1/2 inch depth that they would have went down into. So I cut this piece in half and I set it and push it down in there further. And that keeps all those screwdrivers raised up a little bit so they don't go down too far. If you notice, I don't have finger grabs on any of these. Those things take up too much room when you're doing foam cutouts. So if I have a piece in here to get my fingers in to pull those out, what they do is it requires you to expand your tools so much further. I don't have any problem with either pushing down on the tail of it and pulling it out, or grabbing it on the side or whatever. It's just, I don't like the look of having those finger slots. I like the look of the tool only cutout. That's exactly what it looks like. So let's go ahead, enough talking, and get to cutting this thing out real quick. Do a quick measurement from here where I need it. So right about 9 inches down here will separate this one that I want to keep and this one that I want to get rid of. So we'll take and make a little mark there. I'm just going to put that and leave it stuck in there. And then I'll take my other one, and I'll come in here, put that in there, line it up with those two, and just come down through here and cut out what I need. So there's that. You kind of have to saw this stuff. A sawing motion, I guess. There. So I've got that square cut out of there now. Now I just need to reinsert it back into there. Make a couple marks on the foam and then just cut that out. There. So now I've got that square cut out. And let's see how close to fitting it is. So now we've got the insert replaced in here. Now I need to take the actual tool and hold it in there where I want it and cut it out. So I put all the tools back in here because I want it to hold the shape. I don't want this to collapse or move when I'm cutting this one out. And I just come down through here, go straight down and do like a sawing up and down motion. And I showed how I do this in another video. Turn, cut that, and I'm just looking to trace this whole thing around here. And I'll pull on this a little bit so I can find those cut seams. And I'll cut the main base of this out. Got to go back in and cut into the corners just to get them to release. That's out of there now, and you can see that the base of that will fit into there. And then I got to take and pull the piece out where the shaft of the screwdriver goes. And this piece I'm taking out now, do not throw it away, and you'll see why here in a second. So now that's like that. That fits down in there. And I don't want the screwdriver to drop all the way down in. So when I said not to throw this away, here's what I do. I am going to cut a portion of this off. And let's not do it over the foam there. Let's do it over here. I'm going to cut about 2/3 of it. Get rid of the 1/3 and keep the 2/3. Put the 2/3 of it back down in. And now that's sitting down a little bit lower than the top surface. And I'm doing that because I don't want this to drop down in further. fits in perfectly. Doesn't wobble, doesn't wiggle. And you can just barely see that seam out there where I patched that in there. But what I was talking about on the other ones here, that when I cut the shaft out, so you can see that this is deeper. It's cut all the way down to the second piece of foam. Then this piece here is what I cut out for the whole shaft of the screwdriver all the way down to the second piece of foam. But then I cut that piece back in half and I stuff it back in there. So it gives a two-dimensional, goes in here, raises up and across. And what that does is it keeps the tips of these from dropping down in. Keeps them all flush to the top of the surface here, makes them look nice. Guys, if you like the video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And I hope you enjoyed what I did with this. And if you want to see more of things like this, I guess drop a comment. Let me know in the video if this is what you like to see. Right now, it's just too darn cold to go outside and do things out there. It's frozen everywhere, frozen solid, hard to get around right now. And it's not very enjoyable to go stand out there for more than, half an hour or so. I've got a lot of work to do over here. I got to get this whole thing all set up, and been trying to organize a little bit of it to put the storage bins in. And I think I'm going to end up putting them across here, but we'll have to see that in a later video. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you again on the next one.